Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the all-new 2023 Trek Domane. Finally released. Where did this thing come from? This thing was held up for I don't know how long. We saw it at the Paris-Roubaix race. I saw this dude in like San Diego get it. I'm part of a Facebook group where it's different owners of these bikes. And this guy got it with the rival E-Tap on it, and he got it like before it was even off of like Trek's sort of kind of their, I guess, secret Illuminati portal. It wasn't even like public to me, like I couldn't see it. And then finally it's there, and I'm like, yo, what? Because in England I think they got it first, and I was seeing everybody's video drop, and I'm like, yo, what happened here? But nevertheless, the bike is here, and I have some things I love and some things I don't love, and I want to talk about it all in this video. And first off, I want to say the one I did for the 2019, like the 2020 model year, Domane, that's one of my most popular videos, so thank you so much for giving that video so many views. I wonder if we can even top that on this video. I don't know, but up to you guys. I hope you love this one. With this bike, something everybody's going to notice at first is, wow, the bike's like 400 grams heavier. Like, what happened? What happened was they removed the front ISO-speed decoupler, which, if you guys have seen my video on it, I've got the 3rd gen one, and on the ISO-speed decoupler, there's creaking. If you don't grease it up, like you have to take it apart, and you got to put this like kind of crystal grease on it, and you got to redo that. So this isn't going to be an issue anymore. Again, it's a little bit, I guess, frustrating from the perspective of, okay, like I've got the 3rd gen, I've gotten used to this technology, I understand the benefit of this technology, and then they're like, oh, well, we're just doing away with it. Which leads to a comment that I've actually gotten on some of my videos, some of my maintenance videos particularly. People say something along the lines of, why the hell are you even going to buy a bike like this if they're just going to do a proprietary design and make your bike obsolete in a few years? That's a great question, and I think it comes down to the type of rider that you are, and how likely you are to maybe buy spares and stock up on that sort of stuff if you want to keep this bike for a long time, or if you're one of the people that does want to upgrade their bikes every 3 to 4 years. I know people, right? I know people that will lease cars, right? And they'll trade it in every few years. Like, I went to high school with someone like this. They get a BMW, they lease it for a few years, and then they trade it. I don't understand that, but that is a big part of the market. So I understand to an extent why they do this. In the bike industry, I read this article, and they're focusing a lot on incremental updates to keep the consumer interested. So I think that's part of the reason why there's a lot of proprietary stuff. But if you're the one to not necessarily crash your bike, and you're very careful with it and that sort of thing, like I am, for example, and you want to keep it for a long time, you can definitely do it. You might just buy a couple of those kits for $59.99 of the front ISO-speed decoupler if your thing ever wears out. They didn't want to make a dedicated tool for replacing this thing in the bottom, or the washers, on the side, so they just sell you a new one, so you'd stock up on a few of those if you couldn't ever get them at some point. But for example, I know Specialized had some issues with this, the Future Shock system on the Roubaix, but someone like Specialized or Trek, I think they would definitely support this for the years to come, for sure. The bike, I actually have some good news for you guys. It's funny, in the first video, people are like, you don't have the bike, and it's like, that's right, I actually don't have the bike. I wasn't invited to, review this bike or anything like that, but I'm actually going to be buying the new bike, the Gen 4. I'm most likely, I think it makes sense to get another SL7 E-Tap. That's what I'm going to get, like what I've got now, and I do like, this is funny, I love the color of the older SL5, like the first one. It was like this purple flip. It was this beautiful like bluish purple color that I never actually picked up because I was too cheap at the time. But I ended up finding another SL5 here. I like this blue sage color, and it really tempts me, but I want to get the force axis system again with the power meter. So I think I'm going to get the SL7 ETAP. But let me know in the comments below what you think. 420 grams lighter though on the SL7 ETAP. That's kind of like their flagship of the SL range. That's what a lot of people are going to buy, because you're getting electronic shifting, you're getting carbon fiber wheels, you're getting all this stuff in a package that isn't necessarily going into like the $10,000 range. But let's talk about the price for a second. Like, jeez, oh my gosh, why? All right, people are gonna yell at me for saying this. I think this range costs too much for what it is. Or why do I think that? I think that because you're taking away a piece of technology. I know you're adding integrated cockpit, all that stuff, but the thing is, that being said, I feel like they're just raising the price by a few $100 because they think that they can. And you know, maybe they'll be able to. Maybe everyone's still gonna buy it. Maybe everybody who complains about the price would, you know, that aren't gonna buy it, maybe, or they say they're not gonna buy it, maybe they will still buy it. So maybe they've done some research and figured out that they can do that, which I just think, you know, for the consumer, and you know, it's a bike, you know, I think more people should be on bikes. I think it's kind of getting a little bit toward like the car industry, where they'll raise the price, you know, a few $1,000s, you know, with a car because it's a little bit more expensive, because they can, right? And just to give you an example, in 2019, we went from a $2,900 SL5, and this is 2022 for the 2023 model year, to a $3,500 SL5. So it's a $600 price increase. And I know there's inflation and stuff, but even when you factor all that stuff in, I don't think it justifies a price increase to that level. But that's my personal opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you disagree. 105 mechanical. There is no more mechanical Ultegra option. We're going with 105 Di2, or we're going with the rival axis ETAP. But with that one, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you get a power meter. I think you do. So that's a good feature. Power meters are awesome if you want to ride long distance, because you just have an idea of what power you're doing, so you can keep it down. You don't, like, you know, you're not jamming out to, you know, 2010 Taylor Swift and letting it rip up a climb and losing all your energy. Have I been there before? Yeah, I may have been there before. But anyways, you have an idea of what kind of wattage you're putting out, so you're not, you know, exerting way too much. So I think that's a great option. Oh, by the way, ISO speed in the rear is not adjustable, but honestly, if I had the SLR frame, I probably never would have adjusted it anyway. It's in the most comfortable setting, so I think that's perfectly fine. I'm perfectly okay with that. And I like how you can kind of access it up here, because from the bottom, it was kind of a pain. So I think that's awesome. It's a thumbs up from me. I think that this range makes sense. I think they're partially pushing the prices up to kind of justify ditching that mechanical Ultegra option and just going straight to electronic. So your only mechanical option for the SL and SLR range is that 105 mechanical at that SL5 level. But I still think the SL7 is a better value because you get the carbon wheels from the start. The only time I think it makes sense buying the SL6 instead is if you want to have a gravel wheel set and a dedicated road wheel set. And that, speaking of that, same clearance as the last one. It comes with 32, clearance up to a 38. 35 with fenders. That goes down with fenders, consistent with the last model. Tubeless, set up tubeless all the time now. I know some of the SL5s are coming set up tubeless. My bike didn't come set up tubeless. I'm gonna rant for a second. Please excuse me. I don't think this bike needs tubeless with the stock tires. I think if you go up to 38 and you want to make it more of a gravel, kind of all, like true all-road bike, you don't want to buy, you know, a Diverge or a Checkpoint or a Topstone or something like that. Like, I get it. But I think 32, I never have had a flat on this bike. It came with the Bontrager R3s, offered great puncture resistance, never had a flat, at least personally, and I was running, you know, downwards of 70 psi. I took this bike on gravel, and I know that's an anecdotal thing, but part of the reason you have a wider tire is so you can run a lower pressure and you're not going to get a flat. So then adding tubeless in there, I think it's overkill unless you're actually riding on a dedicated gravel trail. And if you were doing all gravel, you may want a gravel bike anyways. And tubeless, you got to refresh the slime sealant every 3 months. It just adds extra maintenance, and some of these people don't ride their bikes during the winter on a consistent basis, and I don't think that it's necessary. I think it's unnecessary. So you may disagree. Let me know if you disagree and why. I'm curious. But part of the advantage of the tubeless, this is a good thing about the tubeless, that's part of the thing that brings the weight down, because the SL and the SLR frames are consistently 300 grams lighter, but 420 grams to the SL7. How did we save that? But I think that's partially the tubeless setup, and maybe it could be the integrated cockpit. That may save a little bit of weight. That is more of a integration thing of keeping the cables out, which I have mixed feelings about, because in the last Domane, I like how the cables are they're outside, right? So you can actually still take your stem off and drop your fork out and check if there's any inconsistencies down there, and you're not stuck. I think that's a great feature, and I think that's something that should be offered on this bike. And then the RSL, that's the one they're racing at Paris-Roubaix. This is like comparing your Yamaha Raptor 700 with your YFZ 450, no reverse, race quad. That's going to be your RSL frame, and that's just going to come as a frame set, and that's going to be built up if you want this bike to be more of a race bike. So very cool option. I like that they added that, but you do lose the internal frame storage in that bike, which, again, it's a race bike. You may not care. You may have a team car following you, so who cares? But yeah, I want you guys to let me know what you think of this range. I'm psyched about it. Probably going to pick up an SL7 Axis. Let me know if you think I should go for that Blue Sage SL5 color. But love you guys. Till next time, stay vegan.